Hello, 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 everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back. We're going to be starting chapter 10 in Sacred Contracts, written by Myss. All right. So in chapter 10, we're going to be talking about using the wheel for everyday guidance. So I'm going to read a little bit of an introduction, and then there's a section titled How Many is Too Many, and then phrasing your intentions. So we've got some very specific ways of requesting things of your wheel once you're using it, once you've put it together, and you're bringing it into your everyday life, basically. So I'm going to be reading these three sections together because they really do kind of go together. And then I will break the rest up as we go along and as I need to. All right, using the wheel for everyday guidance. Your archetypal wheel is only the first of many that you can cast for guidance in all areas of your life. While your archetypal wheel creates a portrait of your life patterns, other wheels, which I call working charts, can be cast whenever you have a concern or need intuitive guidance. You can use them to shed light on your relationships, career, and other experiences of your everyday world. The working charts help you practice your symbolic sight and view your life as a continuous process of spiritual growth. Working charts can also inspire creative thinking when you are beginning a new enterprise. It's profoundly empowering to be in touch with your archetypes when you are dealing with other people. A man named Rick, for instance, cast a chart for guidance in starting his own e-commerce business. In the three most significant pairings in his working chart, Rick's entrepreneur archetype landed in his sixth house, which is occupation and health. Excuse me. His warrior landed in his first house, ego and personality, and his prostitute fell into his seventh house, marriage and relationships. He interpreted the sixth house, entrepreneur, as a positive sign that it was possible to bring his business idea to fruition. The combination of the warrior in his first house and the prostitute in his seventh told him to be mindful of how he approached people when seeking financial backing. Rick realized that his enthusiasm for this business venture, his excitement or first house ego energy, could come across too forcibly and put off other people. That archetype, combined with the prostitute in his house of relationships, cautioned him to be mindful of his own motives with people, particularly in terms of any personal compromises he might have to make to get the business started. The technique for casting a working chart is almost identical to the technique for casting your archetypal wheel. You use the same 12 archetypal patterns and you prepare by clearing your mind. But for your working chart, you focus attention and phrase your intention differently. Rick, for example, asked, "How are my archetypes aligned in service to my new business venture?" Consider this process as similar to the manner in which you pray for guidance. The only real difference is that a grounded, practical, and immediate response comes through working with your chart. Responses to prayer can be immediate too, but they may also unfold in time. Interpreting the information you receive on a working chart does not require the same amount of time as interpreting your archetypal wheel. First of all, you should by now already have a perspective on your lifelong relationship with each archetype. And secondly, she's not saying by now in the book. She's saying if you're working with a working chart, by that time, you should have a better understanding of these things, not by the time in this book. Okay. You should by now already have a perspective on your lifelong relationship with each archetype. And secondly, you are directing your attention to a specific area of your life. One of the benefits of taking the time to reflect on your answers to the numerous questions involved with your chart of origin is that process familiarizes you with your archetypal patterns, and you can interpret your working chart faster and more confidently. Nevertheless, the more time you take to study the symbolic meaning of each chart you cast, the deeper will be your insights and your intuitive rapport with the process. And now the next section, which is titled, How Many is Too Many? In one sense, there are no limits to how many working charts you can cast because guidance is always available. At the same time, though, you need to respect the process of receiving guidance so that ultimately you learn to rely on your inner voice. Casting a chart or the tarot, I Ching, or any other source of guidance for every minor decision in life will eventually render you incapable of trusting your own instincts. Please also avoid the temptation to cast a working chart repeatedly regarding the same matter. Think through the guidance you have already received from the first chart before casting a second. Allow your insights to make their way through both your conscious and your unconscious mind, and to provide you with the feedback on which you make your choices. A working chart is not a means to see the future. The information it offers can help you gain a higher perspective on the meaning of what is taking place in your life. Many people want the charts to provide them with information on what is going on in the mind or heart of another person. This, too, is a misuse of the wheel. Your focus should be on the emotions and thoughts in your own mind and heart, and the quality of your own actions and motivations. One woman asked me to help her interpret a chart that she had cast about her relationship with the man she was dating. She was frustrated that she couldn't get a fix on what he was thinking about her and whether he was serious about their relationship. What he was thinking was not her business. Her business was to understand what she was thinking and why she was so insecure and jealous. Everyone falls prey to the desire to know more about someone else, to find a way to second guess other people. Keep your attention focused on your motivations. Phrase your intentions like an adult. Asking, "Why did he do this to me?" is completely inappropriate. The question should be, what is the learning dynamic that has drawn me into this relationship? What is the lesson for me in this relationship? Your best approach to mastering how to interpret your archetypal patterns is to practice detachment. Get some symbolic distance from the situation and remain impersonal and open about the information you are seeking. Use the 3-column model, which is on page 194, and I'll show that to you when we're done, to help you. Or it may not make sense for me to just show you if you didn't listen to that part of the book, or you just don't want to, or you don't remember it. You can probably look up the 3-column chart by Myss in her book and pull up an example and then read a little bit about it. That might be your better bet, because if I show you a picture, it's not going to make any sense. It's just 3 columns with words in it, and those words alone without reading about it don't make much sense. The woman who wanted to know about the emotional intentions of the man she was dating had a personal agenda that was dominated by her insecurities and emotional need to discover what he was thinking. I can assure you that you too will confront this same intention in yourself, because being impersonal about your own life feels unnatural at first. Nonetheless, detachment is the most effective way of understanding events and relationships and responding appropriately to them. A final word of caution. Please do not, under any circumstances, use this tool to diagnose either your physical health or anyone else's, and that is in a different type of script here. People often ask me how to interpret their archetypes to find out whether they have an illness, what the progression of that illness will be, or whether someone else's illness is terminal. Requests for life and death information are outside the purview of this tool. If you have questions concerning your health, consult with qualified medical personnel. Now we have a section of phrasing your intentions. So she's going to give us lots of examples for lots of different areas in our lives as to how to word what we're asking for. Keep your questions and intentions simple. The following focus, for example, is too complicated. So what she's going to say here is too complicated of an intention or a question. I am seeking a greater understanding of why my childhood was difficult and why my mother was always critical of me. This is really 2 questions. 1, why your childhood was difficult. 2, the lesson inherent in your having a hypercritical mother. Word your questions impersonally, and when possible, identify the archetypal pattern with which you are working. For example, I am seeking insight into the relationship of my victim archetype to my mother. Your intention should be directed to what you are meant to learn through your contract with your mother, as opposed to why your mother behaved as she did. We tend to want to know why things happened to us as they did and ask questions accordingly. We would love the divine to provide us with logical explanations that condemn the wrongful deeds done to us, while conveniently avoiding any mention of what we have done to others. But life will never be logical, nor will it ever seem wholly fair. Even the many surprise blessings in life defy logic. I know people who met their life partners when they got lost and had to ask someone for directions, and that someone turned out to be the love of their life. Of such an illogical happenstance, we could ask, what did I do to deserve such a magical experience? We'll never know that either. How fairness is worked out within the human experience is not for us to know. Our task is to learn to cope with all that we feel that we do not deserve, good or bad, in ways that empower us, and to pursue as best we can the development of our highest potential in all of our endeavors. Remember that your highest potential is not measured by one accomplishment. Everything you do and all your relationships have an inherent potential that seems to reveal itself most clearly when you seek understanding with an appreciative heart. The ultimate goal for all your requests for guidance should be to lead you toward that potential. To stimulate your intuitive intelligence, begin your requests with the words, I am open. So before saying any of these, that's what it's going to say. So we're going to start with an illness, appropriate requests. The topic is illness. I am open to receiving one healing insight about my stress patterns and this illness. I am open to receiving one healing insight to help me move forward. Reconciliation. I am open to recognizing why I block reconciliation with fill in the blank. I am open to guidance as to a positive first step. Creativity. I am open to recognizing my best creative contribution to fill in the blank project. I am open to receiving guidance on how to proceed with my work. I am open to receiving guidance about why I block my creativity. Finances. I am open to receiving guidance about my fears of earning money. I am open to receiving guidance about my fears of losing money. I am open to receiving guidance on how to earn money. Competition. I am open to receiving guidance about why I feel so competitive with fill in the blank. I am open to receiving guidance on how to release my negative connection to fill in the blank. I am open to receiving guidance about how to work with fill in the blank for my own empowerment as well as his or hers. Loneliness. I am open to guidance about how best to cope in the moment with my emotions. I am open to guidance about how to appreciate my own life. Moving. I am open to guidance about whether this is the right time to move. Quitting a job. I am open to guidance about whether this is the right time to quit my job. I am open to guidance about my core reason or reasons for wanting to quit. I am open to guidance about my own negative contribution to the disappointment I feel in my work. Accepting a job offer. I am open to guidance about this job offer. Relationships. I think I'm going to not say I am open to guidance each time. Before you ask any of these, you say, I am open to guidance. I'll just to clarify. I'm going to say it when I do the first one from each new topic. How about that? Relationships. I am open to receiving the core lesson in this relationship. Oh, now it's not saying guidance anymore, so now I have to say it. I am open to recognizing my deepest fear in this relationship. I am open to recognizing the gift of this relationship. I am open to insight into why I feel so negative toward fill in the blank, why I hold on to feeling hurt in my relationship with fill in the blank, why I feel abandoned by fill in the blank, my tendency toward dishonest words/deeds, how to work through my difficulty with fill in the blank regarding fill in the blank problem, why I am losing power in this relationship, why I withhold my emotional support of this individual, the reason why I can't forgive, fill in the blank, why I need his or her approval, my challenge with low self-esteem, both in general and in specific relationships/situations, my struggle with commitment regarding my relationship with a person, a job, some promise to yourself, or use your own wording, my ungrounded nature in relationships, my aggressive nature in relationships. So the beginning starts with, I am open to insight into, and now I'm giving you what to say for the rest of it. My aggressive nature in relationships, how to respond to another's aggressive feelings to me, how to maintain my center of power, why I do not want to give this person emotional support, how best to support this person, excuse me, my need to control, name one person at a time, my dependency on, fill in the blank, my need to rescue others, my need to be rescued. Now we have releasing a relationship. I am open to guidance about why I hold on to this relationship. I am open to guidance about how to release this relationship with gratitude. Soul retrieval. I am open to guidance about how to call back my spirit from, name the relationship or experience. Spiritual fears. I am open to insight into why I fear intimacy with God, or whatever name you use to identify the divine. Fear of surrender. I am open to insight into why I am unable to surrender my willpower in, identify the circumstance. Spiritual guidance. I am open to any guidance that I should focus on today. Dreams. I am open to insight into interpreting a specific dream. Intuition. I am open to guidance on interpreting my intuitive hit regarding, fill in the blank. Childhood. I am open to insights into my feelings of, identify your feelings with, and then name the person. Pride. Why is my pride preventing me from forgiving, accepting, loving, fill in the blank? I guess you could go on and on with those adjective word examples. Forgiving, accepting, loving, whatever. And then fill in the blank for the person. Inappropriate questions. Pregnancy. Should I have an abortion? Health. Do I have, name the illness? Should I have this treatment? Relationships. Why isn't he, she calling me? Is he, she dating someone else? Why did he or she leave me? Stealing/lying. Is blank stealing from/lying to me? Parents. Why were my parents so mean to me? Let me re-emphasize that you should avoid phrasing your questions in a way that supports the victim in you. Why did they hurt me? Or that focuses on getting into another person's psyche. Why is Julie acting distant toward me? That is not the purpose of this tool. Until this practice becomes second nature, you have to remind yourself continually that you are looking for understanding and direction about how best to work with and through your contract with a particular person or experience. Your goal is to come away from interpreting your archetypal wheel and working charts, feeling empowered with the sense that all your contracts serve your growth and that nothing that happens to you has a negative intent. After you have phrased your intention as clearly as possible, you are ready to release your intention, cast your chart, begin your interpretation of the archetypal configuration that manifests. Okay, so we're going to stop right there. And in the next video, we're going to read Scripting Your Game Plan with Healing Mantras. And then we're going to read about a relationship chart by somebody by the name of Carl. Carl's story, A Relationship Chart. And actually, the relationship chart is a full example of each house with the archetype and an explanation of how Carl came to the realizations he did in putting together a chart specifically for relationship. And I don't know, I think this might be a working chart, not just The archetypal wheel, I'm not 100% sure. And this is a little bit longer since there are 12 of them, but that's okay. We'll read the opening, we'll read Carl's story, which is relatively short, and then we'll go into his charts. So we'll do those two things in our next video. And then we have one more example of another person's chart, and it's based off of career. And what else? And then just a little closing, and then chapter 11, which I think I did say is our last chapter, 11 chapters. Let me double check. I guess I could look in the beginning, but yeah, I think this is our last chapter, 11. Yeah. Healing challenges of the archetypal wheel. That'll be our last stop. But for now, we'll keep on working. We'll keep on keeping on with chapter 10. Thank you all so very much for joining me. I love reading these to you. I know this book is a bit more involved and complex, but if you're joining me for each one of these and you're gaining anything from it, even if it's just one person, that's really all that I care about at the end of the day. That's it. Whoever this resonates with right now is who it's meant for, and that's just the way it goes, and there's no wrong or right to that. So until I see you all again, please take care of yourself. Please take care of those around you. I love you all so very much, and I will see you very soon for the next part of Chapter 10 in Sacred Contracts by Myss. Take care until then. Bye-bye.